welcome to another edition of the 24th Floor. We're about halfway through February, which means we are inching closer and closer to the basketball postseason. High school near and dear around the corner, in college, well, March Madness awaits.
Something awaits. I don't know if it's going to be March Madness around here. It's normally an exciting time in basketball, but for our area college basketball teams, it's been anything but exciting. We're talking, of course, about Memphis and Ole Miss.
Yes, and who would have thought that both teams will be on long losing streaks this time of the year? And now March Madness just seems like a pipe dream. Now let's start with Memphis and help us talk it all out. A former Tiger guard himself. Tiger guard in more ways than one, from Mitchell High to the U of M. He's now a college basketball analyst for ESPN+. You can often hear him calling U of M basketball games. Welcome to the program, Mr. Trey Draper.
Glad to be here, brother. How you doing?
Good to see you here.
Sure.
We're going to talk your ear off here on this one. Rich, I'll let you start because you've been on this one for a minute.
So I just got to ask, I mean, you've seen so much Tigers basketball, and you call it, and you're there on the sidelines. What's really going on with the Tigers?
Well, I think right now is just trying to figure out the camaraderie. I think, you know, Coach Penny, and I love him, right? But I think that offense is so used to having a 20-point scorer that can win games, and they're doing a good job, you know, for maybe 30, 35, 36 minutes, but they can't close games. And that's usually where Coach has had that closer, right? Whether that's been David Jones in the past, P.J. Haggerty, Kendrick Davis, Jeremiah Martin, right? You got to have somebody that I think you can throw the basketball to and just let them go get a bucket.
But isn't that part of what the transfer portal is supposed to provide you? You're supposed to go out and put money on a guy who can be that guy.
Yeah, for sure. But and sometimes you can get it wrong. Sometimes you can get it wrong. The NBA has, you know, they have to get it right too sometimes. But, you know, they still 50%. And I think just, you know, the portal, and it's, you never know what you're getting in the portal, because sometimes these guys have been, and the thing is now, usually with the portal, you get a guy, and he just sits out for a year. He learns a system, and then gets in, and then now you have a year under your belt. Now it's just transfer in 15 guys and new. And I think, but let's not be, you know, Coach has been a pretty successful rate in the portal up until this year. Like, his rate has been pretty good in getting these guys. You know, maybe thought Doug would have been the guy, and I think Doug has had a phenomenal year from a standpoint of a quarterback, right? He's quarterbacking the team, you know, but you got to have a guy that can close.
So when you look at the Tigers, 12-13 record overall, 7-5 in the conference. Now, obviously, we're at this point where conference is the only thing that matters, because the Tigers ain't gonna get in that large bid.
Right.
But when we look at that record in the conference, this team is 4-1 at home, but 2-4 on the road. So why is it like night and day with this team? When you look at their last two outings, it was on the road. They lost to North Texas, a team they beat here, and then they lost to Utah State. Now, that's not a conference opponent, but they just did not look good in that game. It seems like it's two different Tigers. So what do you think? Why do you think they just can't win on the road?
I think that's where it comes with just that guy, right? You got to have a guy. Like college, you got to have a guy. You got to have a guy. You got to have a guy that can settle a team down and say, give me the basketball, right? It's just being honest. Like, there's a lot of teams that have the guy right now, right, in college basketball. When you look at Jaden Bradley, he's the guy. He's the closer. You know that you can go to him, but that's a pretty good team, but you got to have a guy. And make no mistake about it, though, and I've been saying it for a while, this team is still good enough to where they can win 3 games in a row in Birmingham.
That'd be it.
You know, that'd be, and they, you know, they'll get in if they win. But I think, like, you just don't know which team you're going to get, and I think that's the thing. You're still in my opinion. I do think they, from top to bottom, they are the most talented collective group of players that I've seen in the American. But you got to put it together.
I was going to say, but they're probably the most inconsistent group of players you've seen in the American.
For sure, it is. But that's when I think, and when you get to the conference, though, I think you scratch your. You just got to get in.
And I think people say that all the time. We've had this conversation before. Where it's like, hey, don't worry about the season. Just get in the tournament and win the games. But there's a mental part of this, an emotional part of this that takes a toll on fans, players, and coaches. I mean, I feel bad for Coach Penny. I think he is obviously a wealth of knowledge. And I don't think that half those players realize how lucky they are to have
that is
Penny
the thing.
as their coach.
And coach has said it too. Like the biggest, you gotta play for the city too. Mm-hmm. You gotta play for the city. And I think I have seen just watching. You got a collective group of guys that are playing together. But the thing about college basketball nowadays, you don't get a chance.
There's no gel.
You got to put it together quick. Mm-hmm. You got to throw it in a pot and just hope it gels. But I do think he has something in Julius Thetford. I think Curtis Givens III is playing phenomenal basketball right now. Right, so you get here. Aaron Bradshaw, as of late, is picking it up.
Yep.
Obviously dealing with the suspensions of Zach Davis and Hassan Abdul Hakim.
Get into that.
Right, so you obviously won't have them over the next few games, but you get that rotation down. You know what you get. I think if he can just shorten it down to maybe those 7 or 8, Doug. Right, how Sincere Parker's been playing out of his mind.
I was just about to bring him up.
So you kind of see where you at. And maybe just put it into those 6, 7, 8 guys and just and let the chips fall where they fall.
So let's talk a little bit more about Sincere Parker. That's a guy who has come on strong of late. I think he's averaging about 12 points a game. He's had at least 20 points in the last 3 games, including that 40 ball that he had against UAB. This is one of the guys who Penny really went after in the portal because he came off McNeese State.
Absolutely.
So he has that experience playing in the March Madness and everything. And he's obviously a guy who took some time, but a guy who can kind of light it up off the bench. What I'm surprised about him is with Penny always changing the rotation so much, I'm wondering why he's not starting yet. And why do you want to kind of keep that scoring punch off the bench?
Right. And so from with my basketball knowledge and intake, I think he's instant offense. Yeah. Right. So if you go back into the days of Lou Will.
I was just about to bring that
Jamal
up.
Crawford. I said this on air a few games ago. Like, you know what you're getting from there. Yeah. If you put that into that lineup with that starting group, how much do you allow him to go into what he is, which is a natural born scorer? Yeah. Right? Sometimes he may need to be in that second unit where when he comes in, some guys just analyze the game better coming off the bench, and they can say, okay, I know where I need to make an impact, right? Or he's guarding Julius this way, he's guarding Curtis. Okay, he's guarding Doug that way. So you kind of get a view of what the schematics are. You see what the schemes are. Okay, they blitz and screen, so maybe coach can, right? So that's a coaching assignment. And if you even go back to his days, because I worked for Coach Wade, who was his coach at McNeese, now at NC State, and he came off the bench there some, right? So it's not out of his picture. Some guys just go to the coach and say it, Coach, I want to come off the bench.
Some guys are better off the bench.
And I'm gonna play 30 minutes. I know I'm gonna get it. I want to come off the bench.
And for some coaches, you need that guy to come off the bench.
No, you need that bench
because you need that energy burst.
Well, and then the thing about Sincere Parker is, and he's instant offense. Yeah. Like, for sure what you're getting. Yeah. He's coming into the game to score the basketball. He's not looking to make plays, well, he's coming in to score the ball.
I'm just trying to get buckets, bro.
And as of late, I think he may be the guy.
And that's something I've been saying on this program all along. They need a guy.
He may be the guy.
And I mean, not to get too much off topic, but last year we had P.J. Haggerty.
For sure.
And then P.J. Haggerty left to go to Kansas State. Mm-hmm. It ain't going so well over there with Kansas State. We'll touch on it in a little bit, but I've heard a lot of chatter on social media from Tigers fans. Mm. Do you think if P.J. Haggerty had stayed that this team would be different?
Well, I think it for sure be different. Yeah, because you talking about a guy that's the best scorer in the country, really. Yeah. And that's not just going on opinion. That's saying he led the league, he led the country in scoring last year. He's top 3 or 5 this year. So yeah, for sure, definitely different. But I don't think you have a lot of these guys that you have because you may not have to go out and get a couple more guards, right? You may go get a Doug. And then you may go get some more bigs
and
because
you can't afford them,
right? But that's the biggest thing.
Is more
a lot of money different.
Is one guy really going to make all that difference? Because of course, the Tigers at times they go flat where they can't score. But what I'm noticing lately, and Ruben and I hit on it a few weeks ago, is these dudes foul too much. And I know you see it. Penny will just have his head in the sky and be like, "Stop fouling." And it just gets bad, and they have these lapses where they can't rebound. So of course, they need the scoring punch. The scoring wins games, but it thinks. It's just it's too many issues going on with this team. Right?
Yeah, it's definitely some different things, obviously, but I definitely think it just results back to closing games, right? Because Memphis is in game outside of the Utah State game. They're right there. Yeah. Right? They right, like it's not like they getting
blown out every day.
Yeah, no, that's not the issue, but I want to make sure I really say, like, the thing about, like, he's had some really good years here. Coach Hardaway, like, he is phenomenal. So every now and then you're going to have that where you get it, especially in this portal, bro. It's so different getting into that portal because a kid may be good in Conference USA doesn't mean he's going to be good in America.
We just talked about
he may be good in the Big 12, right? Where he didn't play a ton, and then he comes to the American and he averages
6 points a game.
It happens, right?
Yeah.
And I think I'm not a big fan of the transfer. I think kids should be able to transfer once. Yeah, but I'm not
without penalty.
I'm not a huge fan of just every year. I think it's done. I mean, it's been unjust because you're talking about we went, and I know I'm dating myself. You say, all right, but we had to sit out if we wanted to transfer, which is one of the reasons why I didn't, or graduate, I didn't decide to leave, because I was Memphis, but it's like, or you have to graduate and then transfer. So I think it's different. I think, and then when you throw the monetary,
that's the big part of it,
aspect in there. It's different, bro. It becomes insane.
And it's tough for a coach like Penny, who has had so much success, and the city loves him, and everybody wants him to be successful. But you said it earlier, you said you got to play for the city. You're bringing in a bunch of people who don't know the city. You're bringing in a bunch of guys who have no stake in the city. They're not, and this is more, you can do that in some places,
right?
You can transfer into North Carolina, you can transfer into Duke, and you're right in there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But Memphis is a different animal.
It's a different and
beast.
People and it's so funny. People, you hear it, but I'm like, nah, bro. It's something you really have to experience. It's something you have to experience. But I do think like I said, when I was there, we had majority of our roster was from the city. I don't know if he can still, do that.
You can't do the same thing.
Obviously, with he does, he's in the running for Fred Smith. You got Marcellus who will be returning. He committed and signed with the Tigers. You got Curtis, you got Julius. So it becomes a different type of pride that you're just playing for. And he said it, publicly, that he wants to get back to recruiting the city guy because he knows, if anybody knows, Penny Hardaway knows what it means to play. This guy has repped the city, I mean, just at an unbelievable rate. And then he has somebody on his staff, Andre Turner, who's also played, that has stake in this city. So that means a ton. And this year has just been a roller coaster of a year. And, like I told Tiger fans, say, bro, it happens.
It happens.
It happens. Like, it happens. It happens. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say, like, they underachieve, they overachieve. Like, obviously, they're not where we think they should be, but it happens. It happens. But that does not deflate the success that he has had in the last few years.
So, Trey, being a former player yourself, take us kind of in the mindset of a player when you're going through these runs where it seems like it can be kind of debilitating. When we look at the Tigers, 6 games left, 3 at home, 3 on the road. From a player, what would the message be in the huddle, in pregame?
We got to get one.
In the huddles, like all of that.
We got to go 1-0. We got to go 1-0. We go 1-0 because you and I sitting here having a totally different conversation. The Tigers right now are 12-13. If they 18-13, going into the tournament. That's totally, because it can change that quick, and that's coming from a former player and a coach. That's the coach mindset. If we get one, we go get another one. Now you look up, we sitting 6-0 in the last 2 weeks. Now they're saying we one of the hottest teams in the country. That's how fast it can change. It can literally change. So I think but it has to come from the players. Somebody on that bench it cannot come from Coach Hardaway. It cannot come from Coach Davis, Coach Turner. It has to come from somebody in that huddle. And what I love about our team is, my junior, senior year, I was voted captain. Right? It came from myself, but I could relate. If it didn't come from me, it came from Joe Jackson. It came from Chris Crawford, right? We had Jaron Johnson. Like, we were a player-led team, and don't get me wrong, we didn't win a ton of games in the tournament, but we went all 4 years. We won 3 games in the NCAA tournament, 1 year. So it has to be player-led. It can't be coach-led.
This team might actually have to break it down a little further and say they need to win each quarter. Let's just win a quarter.
Yeah, win a half.
Because, if you win, men's college basketball. If you win a half, you say we're just winning half, because that's where the real problem lies.
Absolutely.
Is they're not finishing the game.
You got to finish the game.
Let's just win this half.
But once again, that goes back to, the players, and that's, is that Doug McDaniel?
Yeah, who is
because those guys listen to you, right? Is that Doug? Is that Sincere Parker? I think it could come from Julius Thetford.
Yeah,
just like
being a Memphis guy,
because because
he has that.
We gotta win. Let's just win a half. Like you said, we win a half. Then we win another half, and once again, it can change that fast, because now I can tell you right here, and that's talking to opposing coaches all the time, because we talk to them, obviously just being in the space. They know if that team clicks, it could be it, because you got the post, you got Ingram, you got Bradshaw, You got Silla, you got Majok, right? Then you mess around and then you get Zach Davis back. You throw him in the mix at the wings.
Well, they're already so talented at the guard spot.
It happens, and that's how fast it could click. Because at the end, you guys know just like I know, all it takes is you just need that one moment that just wakes everybody up. And once it happens, it happens.
It just when does that happen though?
I think that comes from inside, right? Obviously, us sitting on the outside is easy to say, but I think that truly comes from somebody that's wearing that jersey, bro. You know what I mean? And obviously, I have to give an unbiased, sitting on ESPN Plus, I have to give an unbiased opinion. But there comes the time to say, I really just be like, hey, bro. That's you. Come on, man. Like, you playing. Bro, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for y'all right now. Like, bro, you really, like, come on, man. I'm bleeding blue. Like, my blood ain't red. It's blue, dog. Like, what we doing? So, when does it click? I don't know. I think it literally comes, that's a player thing. I really think it's a player thing.
Now, also, when you have kind of like suspensions on the team with Zach Davis, Hassan, I don't know if you know too much more of the details of what into it. If you do, definitely share.
Yeah.
But it seems like this team it's always something with somebody roster instability.
Right.
Like, remember a couple of years ago, there was a bunch of guys beefing, suspensions going on like that. For you being a point guard, and you see that, you're like, all right, how do you kind of address the team there? Because you're like, hey, man, these two are your guys. These are guys who contribute like 40 minutes a game combined,
for sure.
like 10 points a game, like rebounds. So it's not like these are just bench players. Like, these are guys who are real deal role players.
Right. I don't know. I just know as much as you got when I seen they got suspended. But I think it's Coach Hardaway sending the message, though.
Yeah.
I definitely think that. Like, it's our way, it's the Memphis Tiger way, or you can go on about your business. I think that's, especially if we're not winning.
Yeah.
Now, if you're having 26, 27 points a game.
A little bit of leeway. You get a little slack. We're
going to figure it out, But I think when you look at their record and you say, okay, there's some instability in production across the board, like, all right, I think, and I'm not mad at Coach sending a message. I love him sending a message saying, hey, this team, you gonna either play for this team or not. So whatever he's decides to suspend him for, I think he had a pretty good reason. But when it goes to I do think it definitely creates an imbalance within the roster. But the team is so deep because you look at it, the Purdue game, the Wake Forest game. These teams have been in this same Memphis team, the Mississippi State, Baylor. Like all these games where they won or lost. When you look at, they were right there.
Yeah.
They were right there. So you saying this is the same team. You just don't know what you're getting. So if they decide to put it together here in February, the last couple weeks, we're having a totally different conversation going into March.
I do think it's hard. The suspensions obviously can adjust to the locker room and some of that, but you're also talking about these are all, I shouldn't say all, but most of these guys are paid players.
No, all of them paid players.
They're all paid to some degree, right?
Well, Coach Hardaway mentioned the fines. Now you see Deion Sanders doing the fine. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. So these coaches right now, their hands are tied. Absolutely.
Because they're having to cater to to players who have a price tag. Mm-hmm. And especially when you're in a conference like the American, you don't have the same wallet they got in the SEC and the Big Ten. And so you're having to kind of find your way to navigate through this. That's why I do think Coach Penny gets a pass, so to speak, because he's learning this process like everybody else is. But I do think that the suspensions, especially if they're tied to, I think not just team events, but like production. There needs to be punishment for lack of production. If I'm paying, I get paid to do this job.
Right.
If I don't show up and do this job, it impacts my ability to make income.
Right.
You get paid to do a job.
Right. But I do think, but just but in sports though.
Wait for it. How?
You have a contractual obligation though. Yeah. When I signed that contract to come to that school, because that's what it is now, it ain't just financial aid. You don't pay me what you're going to pay me. Now, if I decide to be late and I don't, now you can fine me.
Yeah.
It needs to be more structured for them.
But when you look at you got guys in the NBA making what they making, right? And they're like, that contract is signed.
Don't get him started on the NBA.
When you ink that, but when you ink that, it's easy for us to sit here and say, when you ink that though, that's ink. So I do think, you can, but lack of production, it just becomes a thing of like, it's a sticky situation because the NCAA got to get a hold on it. That's not a Coach Penny thing. That's not a coach, whoever. That's the NCAA has to get a hold on it. Is it a cap? Is it a salary? Because I do think they deserve to be paid.
Yeah, I agree too.
But I just don't know. Now that's above my pay grade to say what they should be paid. But I paying them off production. I mean,
and I'm just being facetious.
Yeah, but a lot of people, what I'm saying, like, I don't know.
There's got to be some parameters because right now there is no way to measure fair market value for a player. Your fair market value, just so we're all on the same page, is when your agent calls and says Bobby wants $2 million. That's Bobby's fair market
yes
value.
No.
You can say yes or no.
Well, I think it becomes, and I think it becomes a thing of you test that market too.
Yeah.
Bobby got offered $750,000 at so and so. Bobby really want to stay closer to home. Can you give him $850? Bobby going there.
That's true.
Like if I'm an agent, I'm negotiating. The agents are doing their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you can't get mad at the agent. It's just a broken system right now.
But it's essentially 1 year free agency every year.
Every year. I'm not mad at it. I'm just
It's crazy though, because at least in the NBA, you know, it's 3, 4, 2 years. You know what you get, and the guy can't just be like, all right, I ain't playing so much, let me go, I'm gonna leave.
Right.
You now within the NCAA, these guys, I ain't getting that much playing time. I'm hitting the portal.
But that's
what?
That's I'm gonna tell you this.
What?
I'm gonna tell you this. The reason I can go deep into that conversation because, you know, I seem to overthink things a little bit because I've been doing a study on this for the last few years to where it says when you talk about racial wealth gap, it's now starting to go from here to here now because of athletic sports.
Yep.
So it's so many routes you can take with it to say like, so I just try to sit it out and say, you know what, coaches, y'all figured out. That's why I'm sitting over here.
But how many of those guys are going to leave college with the tools to manage that wealth and create generational wealth?
I think
that number's smaller than we think.
It is, but it may not be. And I'm gonna say this just based off of the guys that I've sent to college and from my time at IMG, and you know.
But that's a different level, just so we're all clear.
It's the same level of talent once they get to the NCAA though. Because when they get to the NCAA, they're still NCAA.
Yeah.
Right. They all high major. That's their resources is still the resources, but who's the coaches that's coaching? Because, like I said, when they come to IMG, they just good.
Yeah, they're just good.
When they go to college, everybody's in that thing. They don't have to have a good year in transfer, but they have Coach Trey that's gonna still be in their corner to say, all right, cool, what you getting at so and so?
Do this.
All right, well, look, with your parent, and make sure you got an agent. All right, who's your financial advisor? Right, you got a finance. Okay, you getting $350 over there. Are you sure you want to go? They offer you want me? Oh, you got to take that. Yeah. All right, go. Now what you doing? You got to trust. You got this set up, right? Because that it happens, right? So majority of them, I can say my guys, we have those dialogues. We have open and honest conversations. And we talk about 30 to 35 guys that I've coached that went to college, and 20 of them are in the NBA now. You know, but when they go to college, I think it's up to those high school coaches to get more informed and these parents to get more informed, to put these resources around them where they can create the generational wealth.
Absolutely. We are only hitting the tip of the iceberg when it comes to these NCAA talks. We have to let you go, Trey. We got to still talk about the NCAA with the football side with Trinidad Chambliss.
Yeah, I'm a Tiger fan, so I'm going to let y'all have that. You know? Hey, you get 8 years of eligibility on y'all.
Yeah, 42 years old, still playing.
Yeah, I'm a Tiger fan. Much love.
All right, time for a quick break. When we come back, the man is back. His favorite player, Trinidad Chambliss, back like he never left.
And we break down also Ole Miss hoops who just can't seem to get it together. We are back after this.